be absolutely devastating.
Here, this is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, welcome to GWR Gonzo's Wrestling Room, Monday, July 7th, 2025. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez, Marcus Fine, and Warren Misery. How's it going, guys?
Well, good. Warren's in a good mood. He's already Warren the dancing machine. Well, we got a big show. I think we'll get right to it. We got some special guests coming to tell us about a very special benefit show that's going to be happening this weekend. And we got Mike Lee and Anna, and we also have Leanne, special guest to the show right now. And Mike, I'm going to ask you first to let us know what the name of the show is and also when it is, and then we'll talk to Leanne about her organization.
All right. Well, you're talking to the wrong person on this one. This all came down because of Anna and Zoe Owens.
Okay.
So I am not going to take credit for this. So here's Anna.
Okay. Anna, can you tell us what time the show is going to be on Sunday?
Doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 6:30.
And that's this Sunday. And the cost for tickets?
$10.
Chris has got gas again. Okay, tickets are $10. And what do all the proceeds go to?
They go to Leanne Animal Rescue to help her with all her costs for her veterinarian stuff that she helps with, the boarding of her animals, the 42 rescue homes that she does, and just to relieve some of the pressure off of her.
Okay, Leanne, can you tell us about your organization, how long you've been doing it, and tell us a lot about what's all going on here?
I have been rescuing animals for 11 years. It's my passion. This is my logo. I don't know if you guys can see that. There you go.
There we go.
So
there we go. Yeah.
So if you see that logo, then it's a pretty wild logo, but it matches my passion for the animals. I basically pull animals from euthanasia from the local shelters in the area. I bring them in. I get them vet care. I train them and I get them ready for homes. And then I take them to their potential meet and greet adopters home. And if it all works out, then I will finalize the adoption. So it's a whole process.
Okay, I know this has to be a big passion for you, but how did you decide to get started doing this 11 years ago?
I actually just rescued an animal and never stopped. I just rescued another one, and then somebody, after like 80 some animals, somebody's like, you're like running a animal rescue, right? And I'm like, what? Like, I had no idea. So then I went ahead and made it, official, and I have been going hard since.
Could you explain to, like, doing this fundraiser here, and I know you probably get maybe there's been other fundraisers, or I don't know how you get your money, but what that money goes to, and explain to maybe the people at home.
Yeah, so I'm very transparent about my vet bills and what I pay out every month for everything. I spend anywhere between $6,000 to $13,000 a month in vet care for animals who are homeless, or even some animals that are in homes and people can't afford their vet care and stuff. I'll help them and let them pay, payments back to me. Pretty much anything in the area when people need help with their animals, I tried my best to help. Of course, I can't always do it, but I consider myself pretty helpful.
And that's a lot of money. So how do you get most of your? Are you spending a lot of your own money, or do you have a lot of other fundraisers or supporters?
Yep. So I do a lot of these kind of fundraisers. So this would be a great help. I do raffles. I do, I do have the most reasonable adoption fees in the area, but adoption fees help towards vet bills. Just anything I can think of to raise money for the animals, I do it. So it's just as much work raising money for the cost to cover those. And a lot of times, yes, a lot of money does come out of my own pocket. And of course, so I have to do other things for income as well that way. So I also have a very supportive fiance who helps out a lot. So
Okay.
yes,
That's awesome.
thank
Can you
you.
guys do you guys have any matches set up you can tell the people about? If not, that's fine. I know a lot of times with wrestling shows like this, it may be what wrestlers volunteer and you're waiting for them to show up, put the card together. So I understand. But if you have any matches you can tell us about, uh,
I do not have any information about that. I'm sorry.
okay, that's fine. I understand under the circumstances because a lot of us, who shows up and well, you wait to see if everybody shows up and supposed to. So I understand. Guys,
Yeah.
you guys have any questions?
I
Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead,
have
Marcus.
some too. Well, I
Thank
got
you,
like,
Kelly.
so you got one, Warren? Go ahead, because I got like four.
Marcus, please. Age before beauty.
Well, then that covers
Oh,
it,
I
right?
was responding to somebody. I don't know how this works, but I was responding
Oh
to
yeah,
Kelly.
Kelly. That's
Oh,
my
yeah,
wife.
you're good.
Another
That's
part of the
good.
show. She's just offset.
Gotcha.
Okay. Wait, you're a rehab center? Is it just dogs and cats, or do you rehab other animals?
I am not breed or species specific. I'll rescue anything. Of course, like wildlife, I will get them to a wildlife rehabber. But yeah, anything that I rescued pigs, and gotten them to sanctuaries, and I'll help anything, possums. But yeah, mainly dogs and cats.
And do you work with the DNR then? Because some of those animals are you're probably not allowed to touch, right?
Yes, some of them, yes, you have to get a hold of rehabbers and make sure you get them to licensed people to take care of those, because you wouldn't think that those kind of animals get taken care of much different than, dogs or cats, but they really do.
Okay, I got a couple more. What is the adoption fee? What does that cover?
They're vet care. So, they all come spayed or neutered. They come with microchips. They come with rabies and all their vaccines and heartworm testing. And then I usually give 2 or 3 months worth of heartworm as well with the adoption.
Wow, that is better than most people do.
Yeah, I also send them with any of their favorite treats or, to avoid any upset stomachs and things like that.
What's the most interesting animal that you have rescued?
I've rescued some snakes. That was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And I have one more. What is currently in your care right now? What do you have there with you?
So I'm a foster based. I have 16 in my care, but I have 53 total in the area.
Wow.
Yep.
Wonderful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is. That's unreal. That
Thank
is
you.
better than
Marcus needs a
than
dog.
an animal shelter. So, because I think the animal shelter just fixes them and that's it, and then there you go. So,
Yeah, a lot of them that I pull from the shelter need a lot of medical care. They usually kind of come with kennel cough or, things that they get that are contagious from the shelter. So they usually come pretty, with a decent medical bill anyways. Plus they need fixed and stuff like that. So it's a lot, but I love it.
I'm done with mine. Warren had one. Kelly's got one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of off what Kelly was saying. I mean, I know obviously money is a great thing, but I mean, is there other things that people can donate, like food, towels? What are some like disposable or dry things or things like that outside of money that people could donate? Because I've got 2 cats, and I know just alone for the litter and the food. I mean, the food just went off, and they're ravenous monsters when it comes food time. So I mean, what is there other stuff that you can take in outside of money that maybe people can bring, like Kelly said,
Absolutely.
show and
I have a Chewy and Amazon wish list, but just I use everything, so anything helps. But the wish list kind of sticks to, so because these animals are foster based and they're in my home and not in a shelter, I kind of try to stick to the same type of diet so that they don't have upset stomach or skin issues and things like that. So they're very healthy for the adopter as well. Um, but yeah, I have lists that people can go on and look. But yeah, paper towels and things like that, and anything like that, bleach. I use all that stuff like crazy, like
And
in
we,
bulk.
and we can bring stuff to the show on Sunday and give it to you then, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, definitely.
And you said people could look. Can you give out your website or wherever they can find out this information?
Yeah, so I have the list on my website, which is leansanimalrescue.org. But I will also get my list over to Anna, and maybe she can get those on the website or something, help out a little bit.
Okay.
Spread the information a little bit.
Guys, anybody else have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say, this was only possible because of Joey Owens and the Dub and the family that we do, to do benefit shows like this, to make stuff happen like this, because, we do a veteran show every year, and it's the time and the dedication that man goes through to keep that place alive for us to be able to do a show like this.
That's amazing. Appreciate him a lot. And, I will get to be able to, I can't wait to be able to, will they be there for me to think in person?
What was that?
Will they be there for me to think in person?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, I really appreciate the time and effort for sure. It's definitely not easy. I put these on myself a lot of times and it's a lot of work. So I really appreciate somebody else stepping up and wanting to do it as well.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's awesome, and appreciate Anna, doing this, and like I said, Joey, of course, the Dub, they're fantastic. Just a fantastic group of people and family. Real quick, can you give the times again for the show and the ticket price?
July 13th. Doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 6:30. It is $10 all the way around.
And that is at the Dub. And somebody got that address because I don't have remember.
1151 Kentucky Avenue.
Yep, I knew Chris did at least.
Come on, Tony.
Hey,
You don't know the address, man.
And a special thanks to a lady named Kelly Fine, who made us this really good, really cool knitted like hoodie thingy for dogs that we're going to auction off.
Yes, thank
really
you.
Cool.
Very cool. Yes, very cool. And I'll have some stuff I'll let Anna decide what she wants to do with it, but I'll have some stuff, merch and things as well to give away or sell, however she wants to do it.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate everybody coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate everybody coming on, and good luck on the show. Hope you guys do great. Again, come out and support this great organization and the show. Leanne, it's nice to meet you and have all kinds of respect for what you're doing. It's fantastic.
Very nice to meet all of you guys as well, and I can't wait to see you guys on Sunday.
All right.
Bye.
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 And did you hear from Justin?
Yes, he is waiting to come on.
Let's bring him on. Here, Tommy.
Now you read Tony off.
He said bring him on. He leaves. What the hell?
I did. Let the dog out.
Listen, it's not the first time I've had someone walk out like when I'm doing something. It's fine. It's all good.
I came back before you got on.
I have that shirt as well. I got it from Basher like years ago.
I got this Rumble weekend. One of the bars downtown was doing a Dick the Bruiser trivia night, and I came in second.
Marcus, you should have been there.
Yeah, it'd been interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Diamond Dan was there. Scott.
Well, then I would have had a chance.
It was fun.
Diamond Dan's pretty good at that.
Howdy, guys.
How's it going? Hey, Justin, know you guys got a show coming on coming up this Saturday NGW. Can you tell us about what time that show is, ticket prices, and if you want to go, if you have any idea of any of the card, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, guys. So, like you guys were saying, this Saturday, New Generation Wrestling returns to Crawfordsville, Indiana, for our Red, White, and Bruised event. Crawfordsville Clash. It is this Saturday, July 12th, at the National Guard Armory in Crawfordsville. The address is 1405 South Washington Street, Crawfordsville, Indiana 47933. Doors are at 5:30. Bell time is 6:30. Tickets are $12 across the board, and then any children 5 and under are free.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I've seen a little bit of the card. You want to go over any of the matches?
Sure. So I have 2 big matches to go over. The first one being Excalibur and Zay Gates were at one time the NGW Tag Team Champions. There was a bit of an issue where Zay wasn't able to attend an event, so Excalibur had to defend the titles on his own. When that happened, Excalibur unfortunately lost the tag team titles, and Zay has been blaming him ever since. At our last event, at our anniversary show, Zay and Excalibur tried to go one more chance to get those tag titles back, and unfortunately, they ended up getting the loss due to Excalibur being pinned. And for some reason, Zay just could not hold that rage and super kicked Excalibur right in the face. So this Saturday, former tag team champions Excalibur will be going one-on-one with Zay Gates. Zay is the one who actually issued the challenge. He issued it as a tag match, and it is a mystery partner tag match. So Zay will be picking his own partner, and Excalibur will be picking his own partner. So really interested to see how that goes. Zay has been saying that the partner he's going to choose is someone that he should have been tag teaming with over Excalibur. So I'm excited to see who that's going to be. And then the other big match, our main event for the evening. If you guys weren't at our last event, our anniversary show, we did have a title change. Thomas Keith defeated Jason Levi, became the new NGW champion. So this Saturday, he will be have his first title defense against the NGW Tag Team Champion and Hoosier State Champion TK0. Now, there's a lot of controversy going on with this because Thomas Keith won the only way Thomas Keith knows how to do, which is cheating. Marcus, you were there. You saw all of it.
It was in a cage. It was
in a cage. And Jeremy Hadley got involved and turned his back on everybody and the fans like Jeremy Hadley does. I've had issues with him in New Era. I've had issues with him at Emerge. Jeremy Hadley is not to be trusted ever. And then now here's due to Jeremy Hadley's interference and interference from his manager, John, and Jackson Morgan, Thomas Keith is now the new NGW champion. So, Marcus
sounds like it'll be a pretty good show.
It is. I'm excited. It's always fun coming back after an anniversary event. And, as of right now, set to appear because cards always subject to change. We should have, the milkman himself, Colby Jack. We should have Cecil Cerveza, Mike Noble, the Blue Mako. And then somehow, I don't know how, but Chris Gordon is scheduled to appear. How he's still walking after the match he and I had at the anniversary show it's beyond me. Because I put him to the dirt. Marcus saw it happen. So the fact that he still keeps coming back, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Are you going to be competing at this show?
I will not be competing, unfortunately. Duty calls other places, so I will not be there. But one thing I do want to state loud and clear, and this is to Thomas Keith. This is to Thomas Keith. This is to Jackson Morgan. This is to John. And this is to Jeremy Hadley. NGW is not my company. But it is a company of the people, of the fans of Crawfordsville, Indiana. And it is a company I have held on my back for almost 10 years. The deal has always been stated that when Jason Levi lost, I was going to get my chance to go back after the NGW championship. Even though you won, you just signed your own death wish. Because I'm not going to let you or your little cronies run around my town thinking that you can be the end-all, end-all, and take anything and everything you want, because it's not going to happen. Now, deep down, do I wish that TK0 is going to beat you and become a 3 champion with the NGW title, the Hoosier State title, and the tag title? Absolutely. But I know the odds aren't in his favor. So if that happens to be the case and you come out on top, Thomas Keith, I'm gunning for you. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Can you give us, again, the times for the show and the cost of the show.
Absolutely. So again, this Saturday, July 12th, National Guard Armory, Crawfordsville, Indiana. The address is 1405 South Washington Street. Doors are at 5:30. Bell time is 6:30. Tickets are $12 across the board. Any children 5 and under get in free.
Okay, hey, we appreciate. Anybody got any questions before we let him go? No, I think everybody's good.
No, I think he covered it pretty good there.
think
If people aren't excited for Saturday night, then they might want to check their pulse.
And, and then once
Yeah.
you get done on Saturday night, just to give this plug too, just listen to what they said earlier. Everyone, I please go check out Dose WO. Go check out what they're doing for Leanne's Animal Rescue. I think that's incredible what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think what she is doing is absolutely incredible. We need more people like her out in this world. So once you get done checking us out on Saturday, go see them. The next day, go support a good cause. I feel like there's no way you could leave something like that without a smile on your face.
Well, Justin, we appreciate you coming on.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep. God, I see Alex said that he might pop in. If he wants to pop up, Marcus, we'll go ahead and do your stuff. And if Alex comes on, we'll let him plug that show. He's got.
Pop in at NGW.
Oh, is that what he was saying?
Yeah, but he's also part of the Kids for Carthage because that's under the
Yeah.
FEW banner.
Yeah, he mentioned
no,
that.
I was just saying why he was saying on here is he was going.
Oh, I thought he meant pop in about the Kids for Carthage.
Well, he might be able to do that. He's on there.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to pop in again, I'm just saying.
If not, I've got a little bit of information, but not a whole lot. That's up to him. We'll give him a couple minutes. Marcus, we'll let you go, and we'll see.
All right, where do you want me to start with this? I got all kinds of stuff. I do not have any results. Kelly and I took the weekend off with family and everything.
What the hell, Marcus? What the hell?
Hey.
And somehow the wrestling world,
You got a top 5 there, Tony?
I ain't been to
Why
the
don't
show
you have
for
a top 5 there, Tony?
I haven't been to the show for 2 weeks. I can't say that.
Sorry, it gives me hell about it. July is a busy month.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
And
all right,
you know
well, here
what?
we go.
I just realized I didn't even do a top 5. God dang it.
Well, you got time. I got a lot to cover. You can go ahead and throw one together. All right, well, we'll do birthdays first. I do not have any prayer requests. I do know Ref Luigi's still having he lost I think his grandmother this past week. So, and then everything that he's got going on. So just keep them at the family.
I got one for Texas. What's going on there in Texas. Prayers for them. And also got another one. Teddy Long lost his one of his sons. I don't know if it was his only son. I know he lost a son, passed away yesterday. So prayers out for Teddy Long also.
But see, my birthday is on Wednesday, but it's not on the 10th. I cannot believe she said that. My birthday's on the 9th, which is Wednesday. So, all right, we'll have to deal with that. But anyhow, okay. So here's the birthdays for the weekend. We got a bunch of them. Somehow we missed Cruiser's birthday last week. His was on Thursday. I think it's because it didn't come up on Facebook. Okay. So happy birthday to Cruiser this past week.
Did he yell at you for missing it?
I'm sorry?
Did Cruiser yell at you for missing his birthday?
No, I just happened to see that him and his lady friend were had a busy weekend, and that's how I seen it come up. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, Mama Grub, which is the lady that runs the concession stand at AACW, his birthday's tomorrow. Carrie Jacks, which is part of BMFX, Tony Jacks' wife, Carrie, she's also been a big part of that. Her birthday's tomorrow as well. On Wednesday, we got Hardcore Harry. He's from up at PWK, a lot of the northern federations. Tony Barr, who ran Logan Sports Evo. Ashley Sampson's birthday is on Thursday. She's the one that works with Shane's sister, Sherry, at AACW. She's also the one that runs the raffles and the 50-50s and stuff. Steve Butler, which is a friend of the podcast who gets us results, his birthday's on Friday. Mrs. Bobo Brazil's birthday, Deborah's on Friday. Referee Baron von Rothschild's birthday is on Friday. Then on Saturday, we have Troy Valentine's. Brant Glover, which is Ricky Guns' brother. JC, that's your guys' Austin's girlfriend, and your relations there. Her birthday's on, where did I say that? Saturday. Skull Crusher's birthday's on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have Jake Christ. And Mrs. Warren Misery's birthday's on Sunday. Stephanie's birthday's on Sunday. So,
all right. Happy birthday.
I'm not going to say how old she's going to be. She's
not if you want to be on the next podcast, you won't. Or
What?
we have a live slaughter right here if you do.
25, right, Warren?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, so yeah, Kelly, yeah, that's a good answer.
So yeah,
my birthday is on Wednesday, by the way. So
since hers is on Sunday, we will be at 210 Saloon. So anyone that's going to be there for ABW, feel free to buy her a shot. So
okay.
Or pork rinds. She likes pork rinds too.
Warren trying to get liquored up.
She got work in the morning on Monday, so I'll make it fun for her.
All right, what do you want next? I guess I can do this show I got covered.
Yep.
All right,
Whatever
so
you
Saturday, Kelly and I were invited down to Kentucky for the Commonwealth Pro Wrestling Legacy Hall of Fame and Triple Crown Wrestling. That's being put on by Brandon Wilson's the promoter for Triple Crown, and our good buddy Joe Monroe is in charge of the Commonwealth Pro Wrestling Legacy Hall of Fame. So Kelly and I will be in Somerset, Kentucky Saturday night. That will take place at the Center for Rural Development. Doors at 6:30, bell time 7:05. Front row's 15, general admission is 12.
Is that the one that we sponsored?
Yes, and GWR did sponsor that event. I did see the poster.
Yep.
If I get a hold of a bunch of them posters, I'll bring them back for us all.
Okay.
But GWR logo is on the poster down there. So, okay, I'm going to give you these names for these people going in the Hall of Fame. Now, remember, these are Kentucky wrestlers, but these are Kentucky wrestlers that evidently have a huge staple in pro wrestling, or they would not be going into this Hall of Fame. So, you may not recognize the names, but they are very respected and have really put their time in for this. So, the headliner, Hitman Louie. I think he's main event in the show. The Ultimate Championship Wrestling promoter, Terry England. He is Ultimate Championship Wrestling is a sister company, the Triple Crown. Lone Wolf Bobby Blade, very good talent. Iron Man Mike Woody and his valet Lovely Aries. Veteran James Kendrick. Senior referee Jonathan Barnes and Professor Bear are all going to the Hall of Fame on Saturday. So,
Marcus, have you seen? I know you go to some shows in Kentucky. Have you seen any of them?
Yes, I have. I've seen. We've seen. Of course, I know Terry England rather well. We talk a lot. Lone Wolf Bobby Blade's very good. James Kendrick's very good. I'm sure I've seen the referee, but referees. So yeah, I know probably 4 of the 7 of them. So good men, and then of course, like Joe Monroe is a good man, and it ought to be a good weekend. So, hey, Mr. Danger, we miss you, brother.
What's up, Justin?
Alex, don't jump the gun. Your birthday will be announced when your week comes along, buddy. So we'll get you. You just got to wait for it to get here. Okay, now what do I got left? My top 5. Warren, did you get one?
Yeah, I threw one together.
Go ahead.
Oh, I get to lead off after throwing my.
Because I got a lot of shout outs too. So
yeah. It was a thin month, but I still was able, as I was putting some stuff together, I'm like, I thought about a lot of these guys. Yeah, I can see that. I think they're all worthy individuals nonetheless. My number 5 be a Mike Noble. Guy seems to be everywhere and doing lots of stuff. So and once again, right with that is number 4, Zach Nova. You got another guy that you just see everywhere. I don't know, to be young and to have this kind of energy like they have would be great again. That'd be really cool. Number 3, Freight Train, Brody Bodkins. Guy just, like a freight train, just keeps chugging along and getting better and better as he goes. My number 2, T.Y. Ice. He seems to, everywhere he goes, he's got some kind of belt or in the middle of something. And, of course, my number 1, again, is because the guy's just a very dominant force, is the Cobra. So he's still the ABW champion. He seems to be taking on all comers and winning no matter what gets put in front of him.
Couldn't disagree with any of that. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, I do a lot of shout outs because of PopCon before I do my top 5.
Okay.
Of course, we want to shout out to Joey. I know I went through this last week, but it was kind of hard to throw a top 5 together because of everybody's performance last weekend. But of course, Joey for what he done. The rookies, River, Caleb, and CJ, and there's another one I'm not sure what his name is. If they're as good as they are being respectful and everything, they'll go far, whatever they choose to do in the wrestling world. Then I want to shout out to this long list: Will Asher, Mike Noble, Phoenix Waterboy, Andre Stray, Zay Gates, Christian Cash, Maliko, Kenneth James, John Downs, Billy Palmer, and TJ Powers. They all just brought it over PopCon weekend. So that's my honorable mention list and shout outs. Okay, top 5. Number 5. I got some new people in this list. Timmy Jackson. Timmy Jackson took on Zay Gates, Crypty, Congo Kong, and Phoenix over PopCon weekend. Very good showing. And also Frankfurt. Mark Magnus. He wrestled, I think, every show but the last 2. He took on Brody, Noble, Arrows, KJ, Cooter, and he became the number 1 contender for the territorial title at the Friday show the week of PopCon. So he's number 4. He won that in a 4-way dance, I believe that was what it was. Number 3 goes to the Gunslinger champion, Zach Nova. During PopCon weekend, he took on Kenneth James, Phoenix, Jackson Morgan, Maliko, TJ Powers, and Cecil Cerveza. One of those matches was a street fight. Number 2 goes to Jordan James, our guest here shortly, pinning Logan Myers and becoming the 4-time WCW Outlaw champion. And he had an impressive win at Comic-Con or PopCon when he pinned Christian Cash and Mark Magnus at the same time. And then number 1 goes to Jackson Morgan for winning the Don Basher Battle Royal, the Memorial Battle Royal. So that's my top 5.
That's a great top 5.
Here's Kelly's top 5.
That's awesome.
You don't even know Nerd 4, 3, 2, and 1. I don't. Well, I don't think she does. She might.
Who knows? Who knows what she knows, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm afraid. Very afraid.
You have anything else?
I don't think so. I got to get my list all ready for Jordan.
Okay. Well, I got a couple
We're not
things.
doing that other thing, then we're going to file
No,
it.
we'll save it.
All right.
Say Jordan's on here whenever you got. Whenever
Okay.
you're
Well, I
ready.
got a couple things real quick, and then shouldn't take long here. The first thing is FEW's got a show. I know Ricky Guns and Alex Bolton put together. I don't have a lot of information. I know it's Kids of Carthage, Fun in the Sun. It's a free wrestling show. It's also like a festival type thing. If Alex wants to pipe in on some times and stuff, I'd appreciate it. I've looked at some stuff. I didn't see exact times. But yeah, it's a free show. So just check that out with FEW. You might look at their page and stuff and find out more information. The other show that we have Sunday, July 13th, Exit 210 Saloon. This is Central Times I'm going to give. Doors open doors at 4, show times at 5. That is Central Time. That's All the Million Wrestling. Again, that's Sunday, July 13th. We'll give you a couple of big matches. One of them is title versus title. T.Y. Ice, the key to the 210 championship against Kenneth James, the No Limits champion. Them two will be on. The way I understand it, it's both titles are on the line. So winner takes all is the way I understand it. And then the other big championship match is ABW Heavyweight Championship. Mike Noble versus Excalibur versus the champ, the Cobra. 3-way dance. That should be no rules. So that should be awesome. So should be a fantastic show there. Again, at Exit 210 Saloon. Central Time, doors open at 4, bell time at 5. Warren?
There's also Trauma Unit, the number 1 contenders for the tag team titles, is challenging Depravity for the tag titles too. even though I am on suspension, I won't be ringside, but I will be there in attendance. And if anyone knows anything, I am, getting 150 signatures to get reinstated to AVW. So I will be there collecting signatures from anyone and everyone that wants to. And like I said, if you don't like me, I don't care. But yeah, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a good show. That and also with the main event, the Cobra and Excalibur do have a history with one another. And if I do remember correctly, with that history, the Cobra has never pinned Excalibur in their history. So.
All right. Yeah, and I do know you're going to be there trying to get signatures, so good luck with that.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. 150 people need to sign up. That's all I need.
Okay.
I'm back at it. I'm off suspension.
Also, real quick before we get going, hey, we just promoted like 4 or 5 shows, guys. Anybody out there, any promoters, wrestling promoters, you want to get your shows out there, we'll be more than happy to promote them for you. You can come on and promote. Just get with me. You can get with anybody here on the panel. You can get with Chris. You can get with Marcus. You can get with Warren. We'd be more than happy to put you on the show or get us the information, and we'll relay it to the people. Let's get more people out there watching independent wrestling. So, Chris, we're ready for
I have one
Jordan
more.
Jones. Okay, one more.
I found a time. The thing for the Carthage event says 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Okay.
live during the Summer Fun Festival. So I'm guessing that maybe when the Fun Festival starts and the wrestling will be sometime in there
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Marcus.
and then that's all I have.
Okay.
All right. We ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. We'll bring him in. How's it going, Jordan?
What's up, Gonzo?
I love that shirt.
I was just saying, loving the shirt.
Always.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Always better wears always better t-shirts.
Yep. Thank you very much. Well, we're going to get things started. Marcus will go first, Warren second. I'll go third. Chris will go fourth, and we'll go about 25, 30 minutes. So, Marcus, let's get things going.
Well, first thing, congratulations, 4-time heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
I was there. That was a one hell of a match. I think I do have that in my list for possible match of the year candidates. So, outstanding work. So, congratulations, and four time. So, my question is, and I know we've covered this in other interviews we've done with you, but when did you first fall in love with wrestling, and how'd you get started?
Well, I think for me, my love for pro wrestling goes in a couple different stories, right? So when I was a child, right, I loved wrestling. I grew up in a household that had VHS tapes of recorded pay-per-views. So, I would watch like Starrcade 89, Survivor Series 89, pretty much on a loop, right? And I loved it. Routinely would watch wrestling with my dad, my brother. I thought they were all larger than life. For me, the dream in pro wrestling, it's really not even something I can live, right? Because my pro wrestling dream was to like make my entrance to Howard Finkel announcing me and being in a match with like the Hart Foundation or something like that, right? So as I've gotten older and have re-fallen in love with pro wrestling, that's something I think about, right? Is my dream, the dream I had as a kid, isn't something I can really live out, right? Because Howard Finkel's not going to be announcing me to a ring in a match against the Hart Foundation anytime soon. So an interesting way to think about it, right? As people say, like living your dream and going for your dream. Well, my dream is technically unobtainable, right? So, but in my teenage years, I really stopped. I don't want to say like I stopped loving wrestling, right? It was always there, but I think I had a bigger emphasis on music, right? Like I got a guitar for my 13th birthday. And at that point, all I wanted to do was sell out rock shows, right? And be on a stage, just ripping and shredding licks to the crowd. And I was in and out of bands for, I'd say, 13 years or so. I was in a long stretch with one group for a while, but that was something I started to lose passion in. And I realized, the music just, it wasn't striking a chord with me anymore. But I think what ended up happening, right? I've told this 1,000 times, but Jake Oman's been a really great friend of mine for a long time. And just one day, I think it was probably coming up on the end of 2014, he sent me a an invite to an Infinity Pro show and said, "Hey man, you should come out to this show. I think you'd like it. And tell me what you think." Right. So I made the trip down to Bloomington, went to the Infinity Pro show. I loved the environment, right? It was just a bunch of rowdy, raucous, wall to wall. There was some family in there, but it was mostly like frat guys, right? Just having the signs and going crazy or whatever. And I was like, this is intense and I love it. I went back to like the next 3 or 4 shows they had. And I think sometime in like March of 2015, I just kind of pulled Jake to the side after one of those Infinity Pro shows. And I said, "Hey man, like, I want to do this. Like, I'm an athlete. I'm a grinder. I'll do whatever I can to get into this business. Like, what do I have to do?" And a couple things he mentioned to me, right? Because he knows how old I am. And at this point in time, I would have been 25 years old, right? So, he said, well, you got some options, man. There's a couple schools in Indiana, but there's really only 1 or 2 like reputable ones. One of them being the School of Rock. He said the only thing with the School of Rock is it's a year-long training regiment, and by the time that I would get through it, right, I'd be getting close to 26, 27 years old. Which in this business, right, as a rookie at 26 years old, there were people in the business that were 10 years in and they were younger than me, right? So I was kind of already had the deck stack against me. There was other schools I could have went to. Like he pointed out, a Harley Race had a school in St. Louis that had like a 2-month, 3-month turnaround time or whatever. But I couldn't just uproot and leave everything that I had to go train to be a pro wrestler. So I hit up Billy Rock, I think in the spring of 2015, and he told me that it's a year-long program, right? But it starts in January, and they were already 3 or 4 months in at this point. So I would have to wait to get into the 2016 class. So even older, right, of a start. So, it was like every Sunday from 2 to 6, training in a storage shed, right? It didn't matter if it was 10 below zero or 110. We were in that storage shed just sweating and bumping every single Sunday for 10 months, right? It was January through October. And then the first Sunday, I think it was November 6th, 2016, if I had to pin it on the calendar, he gave us our first match, right? He gave all the graduates their first match at the Lafayette Theater, and it was in front of like 500 people. So that was a pretty intense first time ever wrestling live. And Mance Warner was my opponent, as well as fellow classmate Patam, right? So it was a triple threat match that I actually ended up winning. So I beat Mance Warner and Patam in my very first ever debut wrestling match, and it's been all uphill ever since.
Okay, Warren.
Talking about being a young kid and watching early on, what was a finishing move you saw as a young kid that you were just like mesmerized by it? Like you just saw and you're like, wow, that's amazing.
I think as a kid, I mean, I loved Bret Hart, right? So I always thought like he was breaking legs, with the sharpshooter, and he always executed it flawlessly. But for me, I think probably Kevin Nash's jackknife powerbomb, man, like just picking up everybody. Like it didn't matter who they were. I mean, like he was flexing Scott Steiner on power bombs. And Scott is not a tiny guy, and he did it with ease every single time. Just yoking dudes like it was nobody's business. So I always loved the power bomb. I think probably more so than any other move, and not necessarily just his. Like anybody that did power bombs, I was like, that's the move. Sid Vicious had an amazing power bomb, and Mike Awesome had an amazing power bomb. So I think that to me is like the definitive, pro wrestling move is the damn power bomb.
Where does the inspiration for your character come from?
Oh man. So I think for me, the inspiration really just comes from within. I spent the vast majority of my life, doing the right thing and, treating people with respect and love and compassion. But I think for everybody, no matter what type of person you are, like you have like a mirror version of you that's the opposite, and it's the stuff that you want to bring out but you don't, right? You leave it in the mirror. And I think Jordan James is me letting and breaking that mirror and letting them out.
Chris?
Yeah, you mentioned that you trained for a year. What was the hardest part of the training to become a professional wrestler?
I think, well, I know you wanted me to tell a funny story, and I'll give you one now, but I got another one for you later too. But so one day at training, right? So we're in a storage shed, right? And there's no bathrooms, right? The joke is the bathrooms are around the corner, right? So you just go whiz in the grass. But one day I was running late to practice, which if you run late to practice, if you get there late, it's 1,000 Hindu squats, right? Which is a terribly large amount. And I didn't want to be late to do the 1,000 Hindu squats, but I really needed to do a number 2, right? So I'm speeding there, and I was like, do I call Billy and be like, hey man, like I gotta use the bathroom, like I'm gonna be a little bit late or whatever, or do I just go? And I was like, you know what? I'm tough, I'm a grown man. I'll make it through this without having to use the bathroom. So I get there, right? And as I'm pulling up, like I'm sweating and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna make it. So what do? I used the bathroom that was for number ones only on the side of all the storage sheds. So I go and I do that. I feel the instant relief, but I have toilet paper in my car, man, and I didn't grab the TP. And so I'm like, all right, well, I can't just like not take care of this. So I just started grabbing greenery around me, right, to clean up. Well, it just so happened that greenery I used was either poison ivy or poison sumac or poison something rather. And then I went into 100-degree storage unit and did a 4-hour training session. And I had the worst case of poison ivy for a couple of weeks, man. And it was easily the most miserable I've ever been in my life at any point in time. Was having poison ivy basically, up. That was not a good time. That was tough, man, but I still had to do everything right and live with the consequence of my my actions. And but that honestly was the hardest part of all the training, man, was dealing with poison ivy in a place you're not supposed to get it.
Real quick before the next one, we have one from Kelly. She wants to know who your favorite super fan is, Kelly or Marcus.
Oh man, Kelly. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say Marcus because he takes photos of me. He
Right.
takes all the photos of me winning the belts and holding the straps and flexing the muscles and doing the video and putting me over. So I gotta go with my man Marcus.
All right.
Ooh, finally.
What's that put you up to, Marcus? About 10?
Okay, my question. No, I think I'm only up to 5, but
5?
I think 5 wins, 3 draws, and I don't know how many losses I've got, but it's a lot. It's in the triple digits. I know that. Okay, you have a way of rubbing the fans wrong at times. Tell us your weirdest or funniest fan interaction that you've ever had. Unless that's your funny story, I'll give you another question.
A weird interaction with the fan. Honestly, it's always weird to me. You talk about always better, always weird. Whenever I'm out there and I'm cussing out 5-year-olds and just being an angry person and having a great match, and then afterwards, like the people that I was just yelling at, they want to come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, like, great job out there. That was a really good job. Like, you're really good at that." But it's like I'm still jacked up, so like I don't know how to like really respond to him. So I'm always just like, "Yeah, sure, dude, I know," and it's always kind of tough at times, dealing with that. But that's always been weird to me. But I think early on in my career, it was in Greensburg actually, and there was a guy. Actually, it's not a guy; it was a lady, right? Just this old lady that lives in Greensburg, Indiana, and she had no teeth, man. And so me and my partner was Corey Towery, well, formerly Corey Storm, and she was giving us the business, right? And he has the curly hair or whatever, and she kept saying chia chia to him, right? And then so he just looked her right in the face and he was like toothless, right? And like this is a family show, right? And then she just starts F bombing us over and over and over and over again, right? And then she's telling us like, you better, have a bodyguard when you leave because I'm gonna stab y'all or whatever when you go to leave, like threaten our lives. And then literally she was hanging out in the parking lot like after the show for a while. And here I am. I'm like, dude, I'm kind of scared to death of this like 60-year-old toothless lady, right? That was kind of a weird thing. But again, that was like early on in my career. At this stage, I just went out there and punched her. I don't really care.
Can I throw a backup in there?
Yeah, sure.
One of the funniest things I see you do while I at the dab, you just come out with those bracelets. And somebody said, you suck. He goes, "Would I suck? I have one of these." And you threw that bracelet like right in their face. You remember doing that?
Yeah.
They said, if I don't suck, I got one of these. And I'm like over there just dying. Your presentation was a lot better than mine, but I did. I brought it up on Gonzo's the next Monday because I was laughing my ass off when he was doing that. But okay, I'm done.
Okay. Okay, Ward.
All right. You talked about the dream and being up and making some big time. I always consider the big three to be ECW, WCW, and WWE. So would you want a year in ECW with the notoriety of being an ECW original, WCW with having the financial that they had back then, or the longevity of being in WWE?
I want to say, there's like some lore and luster with like if I could have been like an ECW original or something like that. That's cool and fun and exciting. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think you gotta choose Vince McMahon and company, right? Because they had the longevity. Have the ultimate fan base. I mean, they won the war, right? So I think if I had to choose, like if they were telling me, you could do one of these things, like a magic genie or something like that, I think I would have to pick the Fed.
Favorite moments and matches you've had in your career?
Oh man, sometimes it's wild because people, I've had so many matches now. People will tell me like, their favorite memory of me in a match, and sometimes I have to be like, oh, did I do that? Like, did I have that match? But I gotta say, I think I really enjoyed my time tag teaming with Juwan Thomas as Crooked Dreams. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot of great opportunities as that tag team. I got to wrestle the Handicapped Heroes with Juwan. But I think I would be remiss if I had to say the single most important wrestling match to date for me was the Boogeyman at DCCW. Just, I mean, he was kind of running late to the show, and they had a bucket of rinsed worms in the locker room, and so I'm just kind of chilling and waiting, and then he finally shows up. But when he gets out of the car, like, he's in full boogeyman mode. I mean, he's got the paint on, the outfit, the everything, right? And he steps out of the car and he's like, "Where's he at?" And I'm just like, "Oh, he's talking about me, right?" But just, I mean, the intensity, like, from the time he walked out of the curtain and went around or whatever, like, just the aura that man had, I really felt like I ascended out of pro wrestling and into, just this great moment of life. To have that, was very special to me. I'm very grateful to Jared for giving that to me.
Hey, Chris?
And that was a great match as well. How have you gotten a chance to wrestle any other names or guys that have been on TV besides Boogeyman?
Well, I did wrestle the Boogie Woogie Man once. So that was pretty cool too. So I always tell people I've wrestled Boogeyman, both clock and of the Woogie variety. But I've had that match. I got to wrestle Al Snow, which the Al Snow match was very important to me for a couple of reasons, right? Because one, it's Al Snow, right? And I always liked Al, and he gave me a lot of really, really, really good advice after the match that I give to people today, right? And honestly, I mean, so did the Boogeyman, right? Like, he gave me a lot of great advice, and he complimented my character, if you will, and really getting the idea of the match is a nightmare, right? And I'm trying to wake up from the nightmare. And that's every match with the Boogeyman, right? Is like you're in a bad dream trying to get out of it. And, he complimented me on, being able to execute that imagery. And, but he gave me some really great advice as far as like, my working goes. And so, just all around, just the learning experience from wrestling that I get from great matches, that to me, that's what sticks out to most.
We have another one, actually a couple from Kelly. She wants to know how your daughter reacts to you being a heel.
So it's interesting, right? Because she always wants to cheer for me. And she always asks me, like, how come nobody likes you, Dad? Like, I think you're the greatest of all time, and everybody else tells you suck and, boo you and all that stuff. And I just don't understand. It makes me so mad. And I tried to explain to her the inner workings of wrestling, right? And, Daddy's the bad guy. I get paid to be the bad guy. So, And she's like, well, I want you to be a good guy. And I was like, well, unfortunately, your daddy is just too good at being the bad guy to ever get paid to be the good guy. So, maybe one day she'll come around.
And then her other question was, what's it like having Skull Crusher as your manager?
Oh, phenomenal. I wouldn't trade him for nobody. Skull Crusher, I would say, is one of my great friends in wrestling. I'm always kind of sad whenever we go to do a show and he tells me, hey, I'm not going to get involved. I'm just going to, sit back, let you do your thing or whatever. And I'm like, but I gotta have you, man. Like without you, that's like 50% of the act, like I can't go on without you. So, just having him out there and being able to utilize him at any given time, really allows me to, amplify my matches, be a little bit more creative, with how I'm, beating up baby faces and whatnot. So, I love that he's been by my side for I would say probably 8 years or longer, right? By my side. So I wouldn't trade him for anybody.
Marcus, I think it's you. He's muted. I don't know why.
Okay. You didn't bring up one of the opponents that me and Chris really enjoyed watching you work. Tell us about your time in the ring with Funny Bone, because you guys did some stuff in that match with the lemon juice and him throwing you on the tacks, but then grabbing your feet and spinning you around a half a dozen times. And yeah, that's one of our favorite. Well, that's my favorite DCCW match. But tell us that experience, and then you get the violence chant.
Yeah, I want to say that I don't get too crazy with hardcore matches, but I love doing hardcore matches. They're so much fun. It gives you just so much more creativity. Like I remember watching an interview one time with Shawn Michaels talking about like the Hell in the Cell and just like, dude, I've got like endless things I can do with this, right? And I feel the same way in a hardcore match. But I always tell people like I do like a TLC style hardcore match, right? Where you just hit each other with stuff, and that's about the extreme of it. I had never up to that point in my life taken a thumbtack bump, like a legitimate thumbtack bump. And it was wild because kind of talking with him before the show, he was pointing out the hardcore stuff, like, hey, what are you comfortable with, whatever. And he goes, I know they got the tax and stuff out there. I figured we could do this, and this, right? And I'm like, I'm not the kind of person that's gonna like tell anybody no for something unless I feel like it's incredibly dangerous. But he was very nonchalant and whatever else. So in my head, I was like, man, I'm taking a thumbtack, thumbtacks tonight. But that was, I gotta tell you, man, when people ask me all the time, they say like, what did it feel like? What did the thumbtacks feel like? And the honest answer is that for me, it just feels cold. Like it feels like the ring was soaking wet with ice cold water, and that's what it felt like. It doesn't feel stabby, it doesn't feel pokey or whatever. To me, it just felt like ice cold water, and I got right up out of the ice cold water. Now afterwards, right, after being spun around and drug around through them, right, and I just had these like thousands of little like scratches down my back. Then as you start to get that little bit of that irritating burn sensation and all that stuff. But the match was great. I loved the match. The only thing I regret about that match, and I tell you, the only thing is as he was beating me up, I'm crawling around and I'm always trying to just, make an ass of myself. And so I go up and I grab a random person's beer. All right. A stranger's beer. probably about half full, and I take one big swig of it and slam it down, and the beer goes everywhere. Now, I'm not saying it was that beer, okay, but that match was in October, and I was sick every day until like January or February after that. So I think whoever's beer that I took the swig of had a case of death, and they gave it to me. That's the only thing I regret, man, was drinking that beer. I wish I would have never grabbed that beer and took a swig, and I've never done it since. As much as I think it's hilarious and people pop for it and whatever else, never again.
All right, Tony's still muted, so I'm guessing he's saying it's my turn. All right. I give you, and Chris is muted too. Now he's talking. It must be like father and son. I'm going to give you one year of training. Would you rather go to Mexico to learn lucha libre, Japan for strong style, or Canada for submission?
I think the strong style is it's already up my alley, and so I think a lot of times it's something that people tell you is like you're in the ring with Jordan James, like you're going to get hit hard, and so that's just kind of been my style, right? And I blame IWA for that, right? The whole thing was always just hitting as hard as you can on every single strike. So, and I've always kept that, right? And nobody's ever complained to me about it or nothing else, but that's already up my alley. So I think I would like to, hone that in. But I do think I could learn a lot from the lucha libre style, because that's the polar opposite of how I wrestle. So as far as like learning goes, I think that would be, I mean, not that they all wouldn't be beneficial, right? But I think that would give a different perspective to wrestling. Sorry, my headphone cuts off after an hour of being on, so I had to pop it back on. So here we are.
Okay. What do you think of when I say these names? First one is Don Basser.
Hold on a second here. Yeah, I'm having this, the old technical difficulty. I think I'm just going to shed the headphones and we're going to roll it like this. All right. So Don Basher.
Yes.
Don Basher to me is somebody that would give anybody a chance, give everybody an opportunity. One of the frustrating things for me early on, when you're in a car for 12 hours or 14 hours and you get to this promotion, and when you're there, sometimes the promoter doesn't even like talk to you, right? And then the wrestler take you up and introduce you to the promoter, and they're just like real dismissive or whatever. And maybe that's the whole hard to get aspect of wrestling or whatever. But it's frustrating, when you do that, and it happens a lot. But I think with Don, if you showed up, he knows people. So if you tell him you're trained by somebody, he more than likely knows who that person was, or he knew who that person was. And he would at least give you an opportunity to go out there and suck, right? And then if you did suck, he just wouldn't use you again. So, he gave me an opportunity. He ribbed me a lot. He was a very hilarious man, but really down to earth. And at the end of the day, I think he was always just a fan of wrestling, and he liked putting good matches together and putting good shows on for fans. So that's what I think of when I think of Don Basher.
A couple more names. Joey Owens.
Oh man. Joey Owens, man. A lot of people, they call him Pops or Dad, or whatever in wrestling. I kind of think of Joey as more of like my uncle, right, in wrestling. Because he's never like brought the hammer down on me, yelled at me for anything I've ever done, never belittled me or nothing like that or anything. He has told me he didn't like certain things or he thought I could have done something better, right? But it was always from
a good state of mind and a good place, right? So, like your uncle would do, right? And then your uncle, they'll have jokes and do that kind of stuff with you, go to parties with you, stuff that your dad's not going to do, right? So I've always, I'd say I kind of view him as like my pro wrestling uncle, if you will.
And have one more name, IK3.
Oh man, I can't say enough about Jonathan. I think he's an example, right, of somebody that when I first started in my late 20s, somebody that's almost 10 years in, and he's way younger than me, right? And I think just like watching his matches when I first started wrestling, it was just like to me it was bananas that somebody as young as him, and not just him, like a lot of the wrestlers that he traveled with, and his group of friends that he had in the business, um, they were all just incredible and electric, and they did all kinds of high end wrestling, and I was just like, man, like I only aspire to be a fraction as good as they are. And any advice that he's ever given me has always been top tier. And honestly, I've seen him yell at a lot of people for doing a lot of dumb stuff, and I've only ever been yelled at by Jonathan Wolf one time, and it wasn't even necessarily me he was yelling at as much as it was just a collection of people. So, but I can't speak highly enough for him. Super, super talented dude, and I always enjoy watching his matches.
Chris?
Muted.
Chris?
What's the best piece of advice you've been given, and who gave it to you?
I'm gonna have to say Al Snow, man. And one of the things is, everybody knows pro wrestling, right? So as I'm wrestling him and I'm coming up to him, I'm the heel, so I'm telling him like, hey, like hit me, cut me off, do this thing, and he does nothing, right? Like he did nothing. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I need to hit him and do this other stuff, right? And then after the match, he came up to me and he said, hey, man, great crowd work and all that stuff. He goes, but as a heel, never cut yourself off. If the baby face doesn't fight back, if they don't build their rapport with the crowd, that's on them. That's their fault. He's like, you as the heel, you've got to always be intentional, always have intensity, do everything with a purpose. Don't back down from what you're doing. Beat the living hell out of the baby face, and if they don't fire up and fight back, that's their fault, and you did nothing wrong. So, but as the heel, never cut yourself off. And that's been some advice that I have followed soundly ever since he gave it to me.
Marcus?
Okay.
Marcus,
Favorite-
final two questions.
All right, that changed it. Who do you want to work that you have yet to work? You have a dream.
I would say, oh man, there's a lot of people that I would love to wrestle, man. So I think I don't know. There was somebody in the chat that said they wanted to wrestle me. Who was that?
I'm not sure who that was.
Let's see who that was.
I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with who that is.
Let me see here. There was some
Says
chats.
Sayer.
But,
I don't know who that is.
man. Who is this? Who is this? Oh, Sayer. I don't know who you are, man, but sure, I'll wrestle you, dude. So oh man, there's so many people that I would love to wrestle. There's so many people I'd love to wrestle again. Honestly, at this stage, the person I probably would want to wrestle most is probably Jake Oman again. Like I said, he's been a longtime friend of mine. Was really the inspiration for me to even do this at all. And I only wrestled him one time in my entire career, and I really felt like I screwed the pooch. And I wanted to like impress him, because I had been working for a couple years or 3 years or something like that at that point, and I really wanted to like shine. And I floundered, man, and I've never had the opportunity to redeem myself, if you will. So I think if I could just pick one singular person to wrestle at this point in time, I would have to say it's gotta be Jake.
Warren.
All right. I mean, obviously you've talked about wrestling a lot of guys, a lot of big guys, a lot of big names, stuff like that. Who was the stiffest wrestler you've ever had to go against?
Oh, bar none, Mance Warner. I mean, that dude hits like a baseball bat every time. I mean, it's literally every forearm is like knockout worthy. And I've seen him knock people out, right? With just a simple forearm. But I mean, it doesn't let up, right? Like if you're like me and him had a match together, WCWO, and we wrestled for probably about 25 minutes, and it was just a slugfest the whole time. And I had heard, and I don't think it's true, but I had heard, that he was, um, gonna give me the business that night, because there were a lot of people that accused me of like copying Mance and stealing Mance's character, which is totally hogwash and whatever. But I just think it was just a good, strong style, hard hitting match. He was hitting me hard. I was hitting him harder. He'd hit me harder. I just remember after the match, like, because there was at one point in time, like, we were trading like slaps and forearms back and forth, and each one was louder than the last. And like people in the crowd and the wrestlers in the back were just like I couldn't fathom the hits getting any louder, but each one was louder than the last. I don't understand how you guys were able to elevate it. It almost felt like it was a game at that point. All right, well, let's see how hard I can hit you. All right, well, let me see how hard I can hit you now. Right. So, but definitely easily the hardest hitting dude in the ring for sure.
You could be any pro wrestler for a day. Who would it be?
If I could be any pro wrestler,
Yep. Anybody.
I'm him, man.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to be anybody else.
Okay.
I walk the walk, I talk the talk. I back my brand up, and I'll wrestle anybody and everybody. I don't care if they're 3 weeks into their career, or if they're high end guys like Jake Christ and whoever else that I've had the pleasure of working. So some of the best matches I've ever had have been with Calvin Tankman, and some of the best matches I've had have been with fresh trainees. So I wouldn't really want to be anybody, man. I love who I am and what I get to do. So.
Chris.
You had said that you hit pretty hard when you work somebody else. Is it easier to work somebody that's hitting you back hard, or that's stiff like you, or does it make a difference?
To me, it doesn't necessarily make a difference. I mean, I love working like Dex, because Dex hits hard back, and if you ask him, he'll tell you like he learned it from me, right? Like the first match we had together, the one-on-one, it was just like, dang, like this is what this is. And kind of the same thing with the highlight reel, man. Like those dudes hit hard, and for me, like I do enjoy that, right? Because it intensifies the moment and it elevates you, to have this like just awesome pro wrestling match. But at the same time, like I can read my opponent pretty well, and I can tell if like the hits are getting to them. And But in all honesty, you know, and I'll lighten up on my own. I've only ever had one person, and I won't name drop them, right? But I've only ever had one person in my entire career ask me to lighten up in a match. And I tell you, like, I swing for the fences on everything. So to me, I think as long as it's safe, right? Like, who cares? And if anybody complains, like, that's one of my advice I give to rookies is like, you know, your strikes are always going to look stupid. They're always going to suck. That's always the thing that everybody can improve on is their striking. You know, so I always tell people, like, if it's safe, like, get it in there and lay it in there. And if your opponent complains to you, like, they don't need to be in pro wrestling. So that's kind of the philosophy I've adopted. And I mean, you know, it's a physical thing. I mean, yeah, we can talk about the performance of it as much as you want, but like that performance is rooted in being violent to another person. So you've got to sell that and you've got to get that over at the end of the day. So you know, that's kind of where I am with that.
Hey, Marcus, final question.
Funny story time. Need to hear your funny story. If you could
All
talk
right.
about shitting in the bushes, we need to hear your funny story.
I mean, I've got a lot. I do have a lot of funny stories that I could tell you, but the one that I've thought about specifically for this, so it was at a DCCW show, and the Rock and Roll Express was there, and in the back, I don't know how they do it, man, because I didn't get involved in it whatsoever, but they were taking people right in little groups of 4, and they were like, "Did you guys know that you could pick up together anybody in this room with just your fingers, right?" And I kid you not, right? He would grab 4 random people. He would sit anybody in the chair, and then he would bring them all together, and he would have them bring their heads together, and he said some sort of thing to them all or whatever. And then they'd all go, like, one person would get underneath one side of the chair, right? And they would all just put their fingers just like this under a person, and they would pick them up, right, like to the ceiling and set them back down, right? Like, I'm not kidding you, right? And they would do that, right? So they started off with a little person, right? Boom, and they did that. And then he goes, "Well, you could pick up anybody in this room, right?" And there's like, "There's no way." So they had Andre, right? Andre Stray now come and sit down in the chair. He's like, "There's no way you guys are going to pick me up." And it wasn't like it was a bunch of big dudes. Like, it was just like any of the wrestlers. And he brought them all together and he was like, "All right, here's the deal." And he told them whatever it is that he told them all. And then they'd all get around in 4 corners of the person and they'd do their fingers like this, right? And they got underneath Andre and they lifted Andre above their heads and set him back down in the chair, right? And I'm like, I don't know what voodoo's going on here, but what makes it hilarious, right, is House was there, right, because he was a manager, right, at DCCW for Sam Knight, and he's losing his mind in the locker room. Like, he can't believe what's going on. Like, he doesn't know if there's like black magic, voodoo being done by Robert Gibson, right? Is all his thing, right? And Ricky Morton's just laughing it up, right? And so he brings them all together. Well, my father, Big Pete, right? He's like, "There's no way the 4 of y'all can lift me up, okay?" And Robert Gibson said, "Oh no, they're gonna pick you up, Big Pete." So my dad, all 400 and some odd plus pounds of him, sits down in this chair. All right. Robert Gibson brings 4 guys together. I think it was Maleko, maybe Zay Gates, and a couple other people, right? So it's not like it's like just the most jacked dudes in the locker room. Like, it was like just anybody, right? So they come over and they do the fingers, right? Just the fingers, okay? And they get underneath my 400 plus pound father. And when I tell you, he was like 1, 2, 3, and they picked Big Pete up into the air and set him down. House ran out the room. Like, he grabbed his little whatever movie thing, grabbed his hat and sprinted out of the room, right? Because he's like, "I don't know what's going on in here, but I don't want to be a part of it anymore." And that was hilarious, right? But I also, for me, like to see the look on my dad's face when they picked him up, like you could tell he was flabbergasted that it happened, right? And that, that's one of those interesting moments that's not wrestling related, but it is in the business that, I'll never forget, right? Is that wild locker room moment where Robert Gibson was convincing people that they could pick up anybody with just their fingers, and they were doing it, dude. I mean, they did it to my dad. So it was a wild thing to see, and that's no bullshit, man. Like, I mean, they literally four sides on the person, and they picked up all those people above their heads with just their damn fingertips. It was a crazy thing.
I'd love to see Big Pete's face.
Oh, dude, it was priceless because he was in his head like, okay, I don't know
There's no
what
way
trick
they're picking me
Robert's
up.
pulling. There's no way they're gonna pick me up out this chair, and they did, man. They picked him up.
Okay, Warren.
I mean, I want to say, when I was in elementary school back like in the 80s, we did something similar. And yeah, this is legit. The story he just told is legit. We did it a little different, but yeah, it was really weird how like any size person, and it's like light as a feather, we would just, it's crazy. But yeah, I've experienced that before, so I know exactly where you're coming from. My last question is a fairly easy one. Are you degenerate or are you NWO?
Oh man. It's funny because I feel like this is the question that everybody always likes to ask, right? And it's like, what's the right answer here? I'll tell you this much. I never got a detention for telling people too sweet, but I got plenty of detentions in school for telling other kids to suck it. So I guess I'm a degenerate, man.
You want a history lesson? Today's the 29th anniversary of that.
Bash the Beach?
NWO being formed to Bash the Beach today.
Oh wow, man, that's pretty significant. I might have to go watch the leg drop heard around the world now.
The third man, the third man.
Yeah. If you started your own wrestling company tomorrow, who would be the first 5 people you would hire?
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I think, man, I was not expecting such a tough question on this podcast today, because that's tough, right? I think I would need somebody that's good at camera, right, and running a lot of cameras. So, maybe maybe you guys for that, or maybe Brian Cranville for that. I would need a really good person for sound. The guy that does I always forget his name, so forgive me, but the guy that does all the sound up at BMFX. I've felt like he has always done a great job of working with the wrestlers, getting their music, getting it just right. I think you got to have a great commentator. There's no way I could convince him to work for somebody like me, but I always thought Nick Manawa was a really great commentator for IWA. And I think the first times that I got to watch my IWA matches back and listen to Manawa's commentary, I mean, the guy puts every single thing in the match over. And I just remember I was in like a 4-way one time at IWA, and I did this missile drop kick off the top rope, which was pretty standard for me for a good chunk of my career. But man, he sold that missile drop kick like I was Juventud Guerrera, peak WCW days, like flying across the ring. And it was just like an average missile drop kick by wrestling standards. But if you watched it and listened to the commentary, he made it seem like it was the greatest missile drop kick he'd ever seen in his life. So I think I would need somebody that has lots of years and time in the business that really understands promotion and getting the word out. So, I know he has his own thing, but I would probably call up Joey Owens for that, to help me promote. But then at the end of the day, it's all about the wrestling. So I think if I could only have one starting wrestler on the roster, oh man, I would probably give a call to either Jake Oman, Mance Warner, or maybe I'd go with a big dude and give old Calvin Tankman a call. Um, so I think maybe that's where I would start.
Okay. Chris?
All right. What I'll do with my last question is give you a chance to basically promote yourself, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, upcoming shows, merch, any of that good stuff.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, right? Always Better Jordan James. I'm there all the time. Mostly these days, I'm a WCWO staple, but I'm also a father of two, and that is the most important thing to me, right? So nothing is gonna override that. So, you can always catch me in Indianapolis or any of the traveling shows. That doesn't mean I'm not receptive to taking bookings. I've loved working for Eric Draven down at Supreme every time I've gone. I've always loved working for Pafo at NGW, Brian up in BMFX, Jared in DCCW, right? Those I would consider really all those home feds for me. Pafo gave me my first match outside of, Billy Rock School. So, that's always, NGW is always going to be, kind of like a home for me. But I'd say all those feds, I did long tenures with them or just, pop ins for, like I said, Draven down at Supreme. So you never know where you'll see Jordan James. I can promise you that when you do see me on a show or on a flyer, you know that whenever I'm out in the ring, it's going to be an electric match. I'm going to do everything I can to make you go home talking about me instead of anybody else that you saw. So, so if you see the long hair and the crazy face and all that stuff on the flyer, come see me, man, because I won't disappoint you. But not just me, right? Come see everybody else that's on the show, because we all work hard, we all take the bumps, and we all have different goals in the business. But I think all of us have the same goal of wanting to give the absolute best version of ourselves every night. So that's why I call myself Always Better. You could take it how you will, but for me, the always better mentality is I'm better than the last time you saw me. Right? It's kind of how I try to handle myself in the ring. Is how do I one up what I did last time? Whether it's the wrestling, the talking, the interaction, my physique, whatever that looks like. Right? I'm just always trying to be a better version of myself. So that's kind of what I got going on. I got t-shirts. I got several colors of Jordan James shirts. I've got the James Gang t-shirts. I got wristbands, right? You name it. So if you want a t-shirt in a specific color, just let me know. I'll get it to you. It doesn't matter if it's hot pink, neon green, whatever, right? I'll get it to you. So come to a show, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with anybody. I love wrestling. I love talking about wrestling, and I love getting people to love wrestling. So that's really all I got for you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. It's been outstanding.
Hey, I love it when you guys bring me on the show. I think this is the third time now, right? So I'm looking forward to times 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So whenever you'll have me, I'll always say yes.
We appreciate it. You have a great night, and see you soon.
You too, guys. Thank you.
See you. So, well, that was another real good one, in my opinion.
Yeah, real good. Uh, that's nuts. I got to get Hollywood House on the thing. I bet you he did run out of the room.
We were at that show.
Yes, we was. Yes, we was.
We went in the back, but we were at that show.
Well, they was actually in the back for a minute, but not during that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else before we get out of here?
I'd say if you're in Illinois or the very west of Indiana on Sunday, show up to AVW. If you're not, get to that benefit show at at the arena there. Help those animals out. Help Leanne out, and get taking care of those people. You know, those animals. They can't help themselves. They need our help. That's a big thing with me, especially with my wife, is animals and taking care of them. So yeah, if you're not over here, you're over there. Get there, or even if you're driving by, donate.
Big thank you for Anna Lee and Mike Lee for help organize this. But this Leanne just blew me away. So impressed with what she's doing. So yeah, people get out there and help. Yeah, definitely. I was really impressed by her. I think we probably all were.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. All right. You got anything, Marcus?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo's Sports Room. Like and follow Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram at Gonzo's Sports Room as well. Again, big thanks to everybody that came on tonight. We appreciate everybody that comes on, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn podcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.